Hello, America! And this episode is brought to you by the Devil Dude and his ghoulish girl. And we are live from the scene. You see, we always knew that God sent his one and only son, but we are now receiving broadband communication telecasted in U-prints from just before the expansion of the void. Yes, it would appear that Lava Girl is frickin' bubbling. And when I say bubbling, I mean bubbling. And she appears to be bubbling on and on and on about some sort of beautiful bubble that we are trying to take the trouble out of. Unfortunately, the cosmic molecular math, multiplied and then divided, of course, just doesn't subtract the whole bottomless pit that could potentially and probably exist right on the perimeter of the Big Bang expansion just before it stretches into whatever is outside the simulation. But we are adding a bottom. Yes, it would appear that some sort of celestial collective calibration is cohesively contracting better systems in preparation for the principal, who definitely is going to have to still send some people to detention, but fortunately, it seems the detention will one day end, but it's definitely not where you want to be writing lines for even 5 minutes. And so, and this is an important part of the whole cookie that's crumbling, I walk these lines of blasphemy every day, and still, and like a bad star, I'm falling faster down to her, and she's the only one who knows what it is to burn. 'Cause today is fire and she burns. Today is fire and she burns. Yes, and so it would appear that Neo has more in common with Constantine than thus previously thought. But the combination of Al Pacino and the Devil's Advocate are no match for even liquid, hot, bubbling magma. Because for the first time in a long time in a galaxy far, far away, well, there's hope and apparently a future. And I'm pretty sure I knew what Jeremiah was saying all those years ago, but never imagined God's grace and mercy being so far-reaching. But it doesn't surprise me that God's grace and mercy reaches even that far. Not really. Well, I mean, it did for a while. I'll be honest with you. Pretty long time, but not anymore, and that's all that matters. And so we better start listening to his bro Nehemiah and get that whole rebuilding of the temple business going on. Otherwise, it's going to go out of business. And speaking of temples, there would appear to be architectural blueprints of some sort of angelic monastery that will be a new sort of worship station, but not in idolatry. Just in secondary uplift of the Lava Girl, but all to the glory of the same God. It would appear that there would be many misfits that will be showing up to this temple and will probably look a little bit different, sound a little bit different than what you're used to seeing at your regular Sunday school service, but we are still encouraging proper embodiment of all things associated with LMNOP, because after all, as it turns out, God's daughter has the same father as God's son. Yes, but the main temple may have forgotten a little bit about that whole come as you are thing, and has definitely turned away many, many people that talked and looked a little bit different and may have had proclivities and inclinations that were not embraced and dealt with rightly with gentleness, authority, and love, of course. You know, the whole love thing. Love, yeah. The meaning of life, who would have thought? And so as it turns out, the aliens are all among us, around us, in the midst of us, and in flying saucers that you can see if you're looking for them and you have your special goggles on. And if you don't believe me, well, then just don't believe me. But please, oh please, believe that whole gospel thing, because it's pretty important to believe in, unless I remind you of that whole detention suspension ordeal, because even if there is recess, well, the swings might be a little rusty. But the Hellfire Club is in active assimilation and is preparing preparations for search and rescue. And as it turns out, 11 and the gang were on to much more than just tabletop gorgons, dragons, and dungeons and fake RPG scenarios. See, I don't believe anyone could have been fully prepared, not even the game master, for the extent of the relative revelations that seem to be revolutionizing the revolution even as the planet revolves. But these prophecies and prophesies, of course, seem to be spewing out of the devil boy faster than the hair on my chinny chin chin. And even though John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, his name is my name too, whenever we go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, his name is my name too. Whenever we go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, woo! Yes, and, but all we know, and this is all we know for sure, there may be a lot of telecom to broadband radio waves that seem to be wafting about. But what we do know for sure is that love doesn't lie. Ever. Ever. And one thing is for sure, if we know anything for sure, beyond all the noise and static, it's that Shark Boy really, really, really loves Lava Girl, and will surf that fiery tsunami all the way to Johnny until we're all snowboarding and sipping frickin' margaritas on the beach. And so to close our new segment for the day, I'd like to tell you about the weather. Yes, jump into the weather because, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, it feels so natural, natural, like when we are together, like a force in nature. And it feels so natural, natural, like when we are together, like a force in nature. Yeah, as natural as nature, something supernatural, something very hard to understand, very hard to comprehend, but love does conquer all. And it turns out that, well, the gospel of love is still the gospel of love. Thank God. Thank God. And so, adios.